Good morning and Shabbat Shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel, scattered abroad, and believers in Yeshua Messiah. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Well, good for you to appreciate you guys being here with us. I see some of you guys already online. Thank you so much for spending your Sabbath morning with us here at Hidden Manna. I'm Pastor Dave Sain, Senior Shepherd here. We've got some neat stuff to talk about today. This is Morning Manna. This is Hidden Manna. We're just share the Word of God and see what Yah opens up to do this. Of course, I don't do this by myself. My dear brother is with me. Where are you, brother?
Oh, hey, what's up? Shabbat Shalom.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom.
Everyone out there.
Yeah, clear the throat.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Good to see you, man. You feeling good?
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
really well, thank you.
Yeah, that was a great Zoom call last night. We had for everybody that didn't know, we had a Zoom call last night. Brother Max actually had a Zoom call, and on nutrition, dieting, oh my goodness, diabetes, and how to to deal with it. It was just so chock full of so much phenomenal information. You did a great job.
Thank you, brother. Yeah,
I know people enjoyed it.
So much more to talk about too, but
yeah. Well,
I thought that first 2 hours was going to be a long time, but it's amazing, right? When you start getting into it.
Nah, it just flew right by, and we're gonna have similar meetings when we we go away for the week or for the for our celebration. We're gonna have similar meetings. Brother Max is gonna be doing a seminar, and listen, everybody should be has questions about health. Everybody's got questions about what they're eating and food. So, and I think maybe even after that, because the Zoom call was so successful yesterday, it was just a small group of people. But I'm telling you, there's more people that are part of the LMC family that I think would like to take part in that.
I agree, and it's important. Yep.
Yeah, it is important. It is important. So that'll definitely be something that we'll add on, right after the fall holidays. And maybe do a Zoom call once a month or so, like that. And then, of course, do our regular Zoom call, which is also coming up this week. We've got just our regular LMC Zoom call on the 23rd, Friday, on Shabbat Eve at 7:30. So we invite everybody to be part of that. Lots of neat stuff going on.
The fall feast days are here, man.
Fall feast days are here. Yeah, I'm gonna be speaking about the feast days. We're gonna be speaking a lot about the feast days when we get to our celebration of it. But I'm gonna do some teaching on the feast days, even really probably starting tomorrow, because I know we've been in the covenants. We're gonna take just a little bit of a pause from the covenants to understand the feast days, because obviously it's here, it's upon us. And now, I mean, all these years later, now we figure out that that's the cycle. That's the wedding cycle. And what are we waiting for? We're waiting for trumpets. Yeah. And I have a neat theory about trumpets. I shared it yesterday. Excuse me. I still got just a little bit of that.
You didn't cough all day yesterday, man.
I know. Actually, I didn't. So it's when I get in front of the microphone here, I got to cough.
I know, right?
Oh, I think it's a nerve.
Why are you doing it? I just think it's so funny, man. Even in my past, before I came to Truth, I always loved this time of the year, man. And now I know, right? And now it's even more.
Yeah. This has always been my favorite time of the year. And now that we know, he comes back in the full feast. So it's kind of neat. Do we know when he's coming back? Yeah. Yeah, we do. Now I get it. It's like, but Messiah didn't know, and he said no man knows the day or the hour. Yeah, it was 2,000 years ago. It was 2,000 years ago they didn't know, right? We're 2,000. We're at the end of the age now.
Yeah.
I think we should have figured this stuff out. I think Father wants us to figure this stuff out.
Definitely.
So, I mean, do we know what year? Of course not. I mean, come on. Nobody knows what year. But we know when. At least we know when this thing's going to start. Because I have a sneaky suspicion that, because we always say trumpets is the resurrection, or what colloquially we used to call rapture. And I have a suspicion, and I think I can prove this too, through multiple verses, that trumpets is the resurrection from the dead. But I think the catching away happens sometime during the days of awe.
Which makes sense, because the dead in Messiah first.
There you go. Why would he tell us that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If it's all at the same time, why separate it like that? And I'm telling you, there's multiple verses where you can begin to see this, but I have a sneaky suspicion that something big, something globally earth-shattering is going to happen on the day of trumpets. Mm-hmm. And it's going to put the world in a tizzy for 10 days. And it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. I think that's the whole parable of the virgins, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got five that are wise, right? They have oil in their lamps. They have the Torah, which is the lamp, and they have the understanding of the Torah, which is the light. Other 5, what do they have? Well, they've got the Torah, right? They've got lamps, but what they don't have is the understanding of the Torah. And what's so the call of the bridegroom already comes out. They already started trimming their lamps.
They're all waiting for him.
The trumpet's already been blown. They know the bridegroom is on his way. So that event in a timeline is over, right? So and then what is the instruction to the ones who only have lamps? Go to those who sell and buy. Yeah. Well, who's the people in other words, he's saying, go to those who understand and learn what you got. You got like a really short time to realize what is going on. And of course, in the story, they don't get it. And of course, then they miss it. Then the brides are caught up.
Yeah.
Then they go into the wedding chamber. So I know maybe a little bit different than we've traditionally thought before, but at this point, if we're waiting on traditional thinking, I mean, if we haven't figured out by this point, we got absolutely everything wrong. Let's just say it again. Shall we start? We reserve the right to be wrong, right? Yep. Because we're all wrong. We have been so infiltrated by the beast, by the prophet, the false prophet, that it is absolutely everywhere.
So anyway, say just when you think you got it.
Oh no, yeah. And it's I'm sorry, it's just constant repenting. It really is. It's like, oh man, Father, I didn't realize that, and you got to repent. So anyway, so that's just a little bit extra. Oh, excuse me. I haven't coughed all morning until I sat right here. This is crazy.
I know. You were on the Zoom call with us.
I know. It's great.
2 hours.
I think
that's why my voice
is you're making me get froggy here. Oh, my
a lot of talking
goodness.
Yesterday.
Yeah. It's a mental thing. Now it's a mental thing, I think. Okay. So that's just a little bit extra. We were talking about that a little bit on Telegram, and we're going to get into this stuff. Certainly, we're going to talk about, obviously, we got to talk about Revelation and all the rest of that when we get together, for our celebration. We're going to be talking about all that kind of stuff. We got so much to talk about. We got to cram it into those days, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. But for this morning, we wanted to kind of piggyback off of Wednesday. So if you didn't see Wednesday's Bible study, I absolutely encourage you to check out Wednesday's Bible study.
Definitely.
and as a result of Wednesday's Bible study, because I'm still thinking about, still reading it, there was so many other thoughts that came to me and things I wanted to share. Just you only got so much time, that I wanted to revisit it a little bit, and there's some real good, I think, hidden manna in what we're going to do today, because not every oh my goodness, it's ridiculous. It's not every every time we get together that it's hidden manna, right? That it's something that a lot of times it's just re-understanding what we were supposed to understand in the first place.
Yep.
But this I think qualifies as hidden manna. Something that's there, but like I said, not necessarily seen, but it's there. So anyway, I want to start off in this. Let me get to my Bible here. I want us to go to Malachi, and we'll start this morning off in Malachi. And this is something that a lot of people read and hear, and it sounds a little weird when you hear it, because it sounds like how could God hate somebody? right? How because it's let's pop this up so everybody can see it. Malachi, chapter 1, and verse 1. You want to read that so I can you see that?
Malachi chapter 1, verse 1.
Verses 1. You can go from 1 to 3.
Okay. The burden of the word of Yah to Israel by Malachi. This is verse 2. I have loved you, says Yah, yet you say, in what way have you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, says Yah? But yet Jacob I have loved, but Esau I have hated, and laid waste his mountains and his heritage for the jackals of the wilderness.
Yeah, it's a tough verse, right? I mean, you read that, and he's
You're
obviously
like, what? God hates him? Yeah.
But he didn't. It's not that he just hated Esau. He hated everybody that came from Esau, right? Because he's talking about Edom.
Yep.
And he says, I laid waste his mountains and his inheritance. I gave it to the jackals, right? To the scavengers. And, you read that. And, of course, this is a direct tie to the story of Jacob and Esau, right? We all know the story. Jacob wears his brother's clothing and gets the blessing that was intended for Esau. But Esau, likewise, prior to that, sells his birthright, and he sells it to Jacob, obviously. And so, you read that story, and obviously, we can look at that story and just from a very surface perspective, it's obviously about Messiah, right? It's I mean, everything. The stars are about Messiah. Everything's about Messiah. So there's a story of Messiah in here. But it is, and normally we look at the story and we say, oh, well, Jacob is definitely, standing before Father, getting the blessing. He's in his brother's clothing. Yeah.
And just to piggyback off what you said, if you read the book of Obadiah, right? That's the destruction of Edom.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, there's what you get when you read it on the surface, but there's so much more detail that makes this story so much more colorful, but I also think so much more powerful. And the story is found in what we call the Apocrypha books. In particular, we're going to take a look at the book of Yasher, because we're in Malachi right now. And you're
Hey, PD, give a heads up to the one that you have too, that people can get if they can't get a hold of that.
What's that, brother?
The Apocrypha, the version that you use.
Oh, I got.
Give a shout out to that.
I have a whole bunch, but. Oh my goodness!
So I know there's so many, right? There's so many different versions, right, that are out there.
A mule Bible. This thing is huge.
Yeah.
It's called the RSTNE. If you guys want to get it, I gotta tell you,
I gotta get that.
It's good because it has all the Apocrypha books in it, to Enoch and all the rest of that stuff, and It takes a while.
Heard that thing.
Yeah, you hear that thing? It's if somebody breaks into your house, you want that Bible by your.
It's like $15,000.
It's a weapon. It's literally a weapon. You don't want to Bible beat somebody with that one. You kill them.
Oh,
but to be honest with you, it's a hard read. If you obviously we're American English, so there's ways that we talk. And, there's a lot of Hebrew words in there, a lot of the Paleo Hebrew. And so you kind of got to get used to that. And it takes a while, which is why I don't really read from it or teach from it and stuff like that, because I don't want to lose people. I read it, and half the time I got to go back to another book and say, oh, that's what they're talking about. I didn't get what it was being said.
It reminds me of the first time when I got the scriptures version, right? And you're reading all the Hebrew names,
right? And
now
this,
like, whoa, who's this?
Right?
And like, oh, okay.
and now the scriptures version's like, all right, we use it all the time. We got it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
And you just get used to the names. You're not going to see Yeshua. You'll see Yahusha. Actually, the way it's spelled out, you won't see Yehovah. You say Yahuwah. So you just got to get used to that change in the language. But it's got the books, including this book, and so I want to take a look at sort of the background of this story, just like we did on Wednesday. And let's see, we can go here. This is the book of Yasher, and this is chapter 7. Yeah, this is chapter 7, and we read this, but this is sort of just more background on the Genesis story. Now, obviously, it's written after all of these events, and it's not part of what we would call or what's called the canon. But the information here, we tested it. The information here is phenomenal, and it fits, and which is what we're supposed to do with everything. Test it, make sure it's consistent to the story. And I know there's, in some books there's some crazy stuff that's said, and but there's some crazy stuff said in Revelation too, and there's some crazy stuff said in Ezekiel, and there's there's some. So just because it's crazy doesn't mean it's not true. You just you have to understand, and understanding takes a while. But here is the book of Yasher. So I got it up on the screen in case you guys don't have one on at home. Excuse me. I'm so sorry, guys, for all this coughing. Hopefully this will be the last week of this stuff. This thing is just like lingering on.
I know it is too. It's also the morning time. I always get like that. Sometimes you always have that. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, I can attest. It was good yesterday.
Yeah, I hardly coughed all day, but I get in front of it's nerves. But anyway, here's verse 24, and it says, "And the garments of skin, which God Elohim made for the Father, made for Adam and his wife, and they went out of the garden and were given to Cush." So we're that's a big statement, because we're talking about the coats of skin that Yah made, right? That's a pretty important piece of history.
Yeah.
Right. So whatever children come after that, what we realize, because Cush doesn't come to way after Adam. So that verse 24 covers 2,000 years. There's 2,000 years between the first part of verse 24 and garments of skin were made for God, by God, for Adam and his wife. 2,000 years later, when they went out of the garden, they were given to Cush. So just so everybody realizes, the time frame that we're talking about. So for 2,000 years, think about this, they kept the garments, right?
Yeah.
They didn't just rot away. They must have kept it, preserved it. And it was a very, very important symbol. Of course it would be. If you think about it, what are the garments a symbol of? Well, it's a symbol of sin, number one, right? They tried to atone for themselves because of their sin with fig leaves. Their atonement was not accepted. So an animal dies in order for these garments.
Shedding of blood, right?
There's shedding of blood. It's a covenant. But this clothing then is a symbol of the curse, but also of the eventual covering and redemption or atonement for the curse, right? Can everybody see that? I hope everybody can see that. That's sort of implied in this. And you would say, why would they keep it? Because they understood. They understood what this meant. They got it. They knew what Father's eventual plan was going to be. There's a way out of this. So anyway, verse 25 says, "For after the death of Adam and his wife, the garments were given to." So now it gives us sort of the what's that called? When you get evidence and it has to go through a chain of evidence, right? You got to make sure that the chain's unbroken, that the right people had it, so that you don't get somebody pawning it off. And then just killing the deer and say, "Oh, look, these, I'm sure, there were counterfeits, people, selling on Amazon way back then in the garden."
It's
hey,
like fake Gucci bags in the city, right?
Fake Gucci bags, fake clothing from Yah. If you can buy it online at a discounted price, it's not the right one.
How'd you know it was fake? The tag had the Yod Hey Vav Hey on the right?
Made in China.
Oh yeah, you knew it was a fake, right?
You knew it was fake Adam's clothing when it said "made in China." So after the death of Adam's wife, the garments went to Enoch. All right, Enoch's a huge part of the story, guys. Huge part of the story. Please read the book of Enoch. Huge part of the story. We're going to be talking a lot about it over the next weeks and months and stuff. So. The son of Yared, and when Enoch was taken up to God, so there's that whole going right back to Genesis part, right? Enoch has this crazy experience He gave it to Methuselah, his son. And at the death of Methuselah, the very next year is the flood. Methuselah gave them to Noah. I just lost my spot there for a second. The death of Methuselah, Noah took them and brought them on the ark, and they were with him until he went out of the ark. So we've got the chain of evidence, so to speak, that from Adam, this was so important, so big, that they made sure a faithful line of people, because all the people that are mentioned in this lineage are faithful people. They're not the people that are messing with the Nephilim and the
you know what's amazing? You realize why Yah gives us, their ages through Genesis, right? Because you have a timeline.
Yeah, it's a chain of evidence. Good.
People always want to skip over that, right? The lineage of names and ages, and right?
Yeah, good point. It's a chain of custody. That's what it is. Chain of custody. So. Let me just highlight so everybody can see this. I can't highlight. I thought I could. Nope. All right. So in their going out. So he brings them in the ark, verse 27. And in their going out, there it goes. Ham stole these garments from Noah, his father. Now we all know who Ham is, right?
Yeah. Nothing ever good as Ham.
Yeah. Oh, very good, brother. I like that, man. I like that pun. I'm trying to think of a good pun to come back with, but that's it, man. You did it. This is why we don't eat ham. That's good. Okay, so Ham steals them. Now, obviously, Ham did a lot of other things too. Ham was pretty much a jerk, if you think about it, as to what this guy actually did. So he steals the garments. I mean, that's huge, right? It's not like he, just, I don't know. I guess you could have taken anything in there, but to take that thing that had been protected for so long, that is the symbol of the curse, but also of the redemption. That's big. So he takes him, and obviously Ham is cursed, right? Ham gets cursed, and everybody in his lineage gets cursed. So actually, the clothing goes with the lineage that's cursed, which I guess in one way kind of makes, some weird sense. Verse 28, it says, and when Ham begot his firstborn, which is Cush, now this is the summary of verse 24. We got the whole lineage now. And Cush also, and when Ham begot his firstborn Cush, he gave him the garments in secret, right? So this is kept on the DL. And they were with Cush many days. And Cush also concealed them from his sons and brothers. And when Cush begot Nimrod, he gave the garments to him through his love for him. And Nimrod grew up, and he was 20 years old when he put on those garments. And of course, Nimrod begins to rule, and all the story of Nimrod. We're not going to get into all of that today, but it's an incredible story. So just off of just a little bit more of the information we get from Yasher, the coats of skin made it all the way to the New World, I guess you could say, right? Post flood, and and now they're with a lineage that's cursed. That's cursed for what their father did, and from them comes Sodom and Gomorrah, and all the other things later on when you follow out the lineage. So that's chapter 7. In the same book, Yasher, the story goes on, and obviously this is many chapters later. But let me see if I can. This is chapter 27. If you guys have a book of Yasher at home and you're trying to follow us along, but here up on the screen is chapter 27. Let me pull this up so everybody can see it. There we go. I know you guys can hear us. You can't see us up there, but you can hear us. So here's chapter 27, and we're going to pick up the account because this clothing thing's going to come back. And don't forget, these are clothing of animals, right? Which is probably what most people were wearing anyway. I mean, you're talking about, leather clothing from an animal, skin,
It's like Earth, Wind, and Fire when they had those leather, right?
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Where'd that come from?
Well,
you know what?
I don't want to get too much. Our brother sent us. They're in concert. Remember, he sent me a thing, and they have like those leather vests and leather pants on.
I was gonna say because it's September.
Yeah, right. There you go. You got a good one.
I had to get a pun in there. It wasn't as good as your ham one, but Sister Paula sent me a song from Earth, Wind, and Fire on the first day of September. It was so cool. Brought back so many memories. Cool. All right, so chapter chapter 27, verse 4, and it says, "And on a certain day," so this is a long time later, Nimrod's king, really bad king, doing really bad things, starting a whole religion, making God men God, all blasphemy. And then on verse 4 it says, "And on a certain day Esau went into the field to hunt." So we know in the book of Genesis Esau is a hunter, right? He's skilled with the bow, but not just with the bow. The guy's a swordsman too. We'll find out in a second. And and on a certain day Esau went into the field to hunt, and he found Nimrod walking in the wilderness with his 2 men. So Nimrod's also out there. So Esau's hunting. It looks like Nimrod is also, actually, if you read verse 2, he was hunting with his mighty men in the field. So both of them are hunting. It's a hunting trip. And all his mighty men and his people were with him in the wilderness. But they removed at a distance from him, and they went from him in different directions to hunt. And Esau concealed himself for Nimrod, and he lurked for him in the wilderness. So Esau's, he's all camoed out. He's got his ghillie suit on. He's in the back there, and he sees this group. So he's got a large group of people with him, and you're going to find out he's got a small contingent, probably his personal guard, that are also with him. And it's his forest. It's the king's forest. So, they're not really too worried about things. And Nimrod walks a distance away from the large group of people. And if you ever seen movies on, a king going hunting or in the king's wood, it's a huge thing. It's not, it's not, just 2 guys, putting on, fluorescent jackets and going out in camo. It's tense, and it's
they
bakers
got the dogs going out, everything.
It's huge. It's a huge thing. And so it seems like Nimrod and his servants or his special guard are just, I guess, maybe want to get out of the fray, getting ahead of everybody. And
I think in modern days, even if you just think about it, if the president went out to go hunting, the entourage he has going with him,
Yeah, there you go. So this was...
What verse you want, buddy? I just pulled it up on my phone, the book of Jasher.
Number 6.
Okay.
Number 6 says, "And Nimrod and his men that were with him did not know him." They didn't know that Esau was there. "And Nimrod and his men frequently walked about in the field at the cool of the day, and to know where his men were hunting in the field. And Nimrod and 2 of his men that were with him came to the place where they were, when Esau started suddenly from his lurking place and drew his sword." So Esau pops out, not with the bow, with a sword. Pops out with his sword, and hastened and ran to Nimrod and cut off his head. Dang. I mean, so I guess the implication here is that Nimrod didn't even see it coming.
Yeah, that's like ninja stuff there, man.
Yeah, yeah. That's ninja stuff. So, the horribleness of that. But, obviously, Yah gave Esau the opportunity to do this, right? You don't get that without favor. And don't forget, Esau is the firstborn.
Yep.
To him belongs the blessing. It says, and Esau fought, verse 8, Esau fought a desperate fight with the 2 men that were with Nimrod. And when they called out to him, Esau turned to them and smote them to death with the sword. When they called out to him, when they saw Nimrod's head bouncing on the floor, "Hey, what are you doing there? Stop, halt."
They're gone. Sound effects. You heard that?
Sound effects. They're gone. So he fights these 2 guys. So Esau actually winds up killing 3 people with a sword. And you got to believe Esau got beat up on this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because the 2 guys that are with the king, they're basically the Secret Service of their day.
Yeah, these aren't just 2 schmoes. These are trained fighters, yeah.
These are trained fighters. So you got to believe, not only, obviously, Esau wins, which is a testament to who Esau was, right? but also, I think a testament to Yah, because this honestly reminds me like a story of King David.
Yeah,
right?
it does.
Yeah, him and his mighty men, against 500, Philistines, two swords in their hand, and they're just hacking away.
Plus, he was a ninja too when he's thinking cuts off Saul's tzitzit, right? When he's in the cave.
That was a ninja move, no doubt. That was a ninja move. So, verse 9 says, and all the mighty men of Nimrod who had left him to go to the wilderness heard the cry. So, it's, clang, clang, clang of the sword, screaming, guy gets cut, and, eventually he kills him. You gotta believe Esau got damaged in this thing.
Yeah.
Punched, kicked, teeth knocked out, whatever, you don't go through a sword fight and not get a scratch. I mean, except for Nimrod, who didn't see it coming. But the other two guys, they see it coming.
Yeah.
They heard the cry at a distance, and they knew the voices of the two men. So the guys are screaming for somebody to come help. And they ran to know the cause of it. And when they found their king and the two men that were lying dead with him, lying dead in the wilderness. So Esau kills Nimrod, and he also kills the two men that are with him. All right, so that's chapter 27. I want to go back just a little bit to chapter. I think I missed something here. Chapter 25. I think it's 25. Make sure I got the right one.
That's when Abraham takes, what is it, Keturah?
Nope, I did the wrong one. All right, so I'm sorry. Yeah, not the book of Jasher. I'm looking for the book of
Jubilee.
No, Genesis. Oh. Genesis chapter 25. So that's the story. So that's the backstory of you know what? Let me just go back to Jasher just for a second, because I skipped something here. That's kind of important. I'm in Bereshit. Let me go back to chapter 27. Sorry, guys. Here we go. And verse 13 is where we left off. Let's look at verse. So he fights a desperate fight, verse 8, verse 9. Verse 10, it says, and when Esau saw the mighty men of Nimrod coming at a distance, so, they're obviously coming to the sound. They hear all the scuffle.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He fled. So I think the implication is here, they didn't know it was Esau. Obviously, Esau knows it was Esau.
Mm-hmm.
They just know there's an assassin in these woods. So what are they going to do? An entire hunting party, all the rest of the King's Guard, they're going to try to hunt whoever this guy is down.
Mm-hmm.
And when they find this guy, they're not going to take him in for questioning.
Yeah, he's dead.
Right? This guy is not going to get handcuffed. He's not going to get his Miranda rights. He's going to get a beat down like he's never gotten a beat down before, and then they're just going to kill him and say, oh, he slipped, right? So Esau knows this, so Esau runs. But look at what he does. This is crazy. They heard the men of Nimrod coming at a distance. He fled and thereby escaped. And Esau took the valuable garments of Nimrod, which Nimrod's father had bequeathed to Nimrod. So what was Nimrod wearing? As he wore very, very often, he wore the clothing that came from Adam.
It's crazy, huh?
Because it gave him the authority, because, man, that comes from Adam. Obviously, they're using it, I think, incorrectly, but they're using it nonetheless.
Yeah.
And so father gives Esau the opportunity to take that which was stolen and bring it back into the godly family line, right, to him. But, again, Esau is freaking out here. Esau took the garments and ran into the city on account of Nimrod's men. So they don't know it's him, but so this guy's killed the king, killed two other guys, and stolen the garments of Adam, or really stole back. And he came to his father's house wearied and exhausted from fight. He was ready to die through grief when he approached his brother Jacob and sat before him. So the previous verse just before it, he took the valuable garments of Nimrod, verse 10, which Nimrod's father had bequeathed him, and which Nimrod prevailed over the whole land, and he ran and concealed them in his house. right? So he hides them.
Yeah.
Then, of course, it says that verse 12, and he said to his brother Jacob, so he meets his brother Jacob now. Now comes the connection with the book of Genesis. And he meets his brother Jacob. Behold, I shall die this day, and wherefore do I then want a birthright? So this is the story, Genesis chapter 25, as Esau sells his birthright.
Yeah,
so I always
29 to 34, right?
I always thought. Well, let's take a look at it. So he's telling me he's going to die. So let's go back to now to Genesis. Go ahead.
Can you agree that out of all the Hollywood movies they make biblical stories, man, this would make one of the best, right?
Honestly, the whole story. If somebody would tell the whole story,
right?
The right way.
The right way, exactly.
If we would tell the whole story the right way, this is. I guess I remember what's his name, Michael Roux would always say, the greatest story never told.
Yeah, seriously,
he's right. He's right. Because we do not get the story. It's you realize how powerful Satan is, right? How powerful the deception truly is. So now we get to Genesis chapter 25. We're just trying to build a case here, guys.
Yeah.
And
shoot down to verse 29. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now Jacob could. Yeah.
Yeah. It says, and this one I think I can highlight. Here it is. So this picks up the story right from Yasher chapter 27. So we're getting more information in Yasher, some details. So and Jacob cooked. Oh no, I'm reading the wrong one. That's not 25. I think it's like 20, 21. Anyway, I'm not even going to try to go there. Let's just talk about it for a second. So you know the story. So Jacob meets Esau. You guys can look it up. I think it's like 20, maybe the chapter before this, 24, 23. He meets Esau running now from all of this stuff he just did after hiding the garments in his house, meets his brother and says, I'm going to die. And what is my birthright to me? And I always wondered, is Esau just evil and bad? Or do you think he really just sold his birthright for a bowl of stew? Yeah, it says he's hungry. He feels like he knows why does he say he's going to die? Well, because he's got an army of people.
He's being hunted.
Yeah, he's got now whether they know it's him or not, he doesn't know. And obviously they don't, because Esau goes on after this, but he's freaking out. And I'm wondering why sell your birthright? And I think part of it, and you guys can, mold this over in your mind, but I'm thinking that because he was the firstborn, Father gave Esau the ability to get that cloak back. That was part of the burden of being the firstborn son, to receive the blessing from Abraham. The cloak that went from Adam to Enoch, to Methuselah, to Noah, had to be brought back into the fold. And it was the firstborn son's responsibility to do it. I think that's what Esau was weary of. He's like, this is too much. This is, and I think we've all felt this way from time to time, so overwhelmed about something.
Yeah.
That you're just like, I can't do this. I can't do this.
Yep, exactly.
This is too much. But the difference here is Esau is the firstborn. Now we know the prophecy, we know what's going to happen, but he's still the firstborn, right? Technically, it still goes through him. So when he sells his birthright, I don't think it's not Jacob being sly or cunning and underhanded. I think it's Jacob saying, I'll carry it for you then. If this birthright is too much for you, let me do it. And to seal the deal, sell it to me. Now, that's a very different, story or way of looking at it than we normally hear. So if he sells him that, then the very responsibility, he would feel relieved. All right, it's not my responsibility anymore. Let him do it. Now, obviously, Esau recants on that later on. But that brings up a really, really interesting thought, you know, of putting your hand to the plow
Mm-hmm.
and then looking back.
Wow.
Because isn't that what Esau just did?
Mm-hmm.
Yah gave him favor to overcome an evil king whose family that is cursed stole the very garments that are the symbol of Adam, the curse, and the redemption. That only happens if Yah did it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
It only happens if Yah did it. So Yah gives Esau favor. It's too much for him. At least at that moment, it's too much for him.
Yeah, that's a cool perspective, man.
And like so many of us in the moment of that anxiety, or, you know, life is just too big, or, you know, learning all these things about Yah, it's just, it's so overwhelming. Don't give up your birthright. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's overwhelming. Keep your hands on the plow. Mm. Don't look back. Don't give up. Because we see what happens, and obviously this was supposed to happen. There's a bigger story going on here. So again, I'm starting to look at this as though, you know, Esau's not as as bad a guy as we think. I think it was used of Yah, but it was just so overwhelming. The pressure of what that office meant was too much. Mm-hmm. Now later on he wants it, and how many people do that, right? How many people you know, give up on Yah, you know, walk away, don't want nothing, but we want to go to heaven.
Yeah.
Right?
We want all the blessings.
We want all the blessings, and that's just it. We don't want to do the work, but we don't want the responsibility, but we want the blessing. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, I can understand why Father would say, Jacob I loved. Why? Because he said, I'll take the responsibility. Mm-hmm. I'll do it. I'll bear it. All right. So that's the story. And then we forward fast, and here in Genesis 25 is when his father, this is time goes by, wants to give the blessing to Esau. So now Esau's like, yeah, all right, I'll take the blessing. Bring the wild game. You know, he tells him to go and bring the wild game. Go hunt something, bring it back, cook it for me. Rachel, or Rebecca, not Rachel, Rebecca actually hears the whole situation and tells her son, Jacob, to, you're going to step in for your brother. And Jacob's concerned about it because he doesn't want to have a curse put on him. She's like, no, let the curse be on me. So obviously Esau goes out because now he wants the blessing. And you know the story. Jacob, of course, puts on the clothing.
Yeah, in Genesis chapter 25 goes over the selling his birthright. And then 27 is now when Isaac blesses Jacob. Yeah,
let's just take a look at that real quick. Thanks. Just so everybody sees the context here. Verse 29, and Jacob cooked a stew, and Esau came into the field, and he was weary. And Esau saw Jacob, please feed me with the same red stew, for I am weary. That is why my name is called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me your birthright. So it's kind of generic.
Yeah, it skips over a lot of...
Yeah, it's very generic the way we read it here. But we need to understand it with a lot more color than that. So then, obviously, time goes by. So here's the deal. Where are the garments?
Yeah.
Right? Where are these garments now? And who knows about them? Mm-hmm. Nobody does. Except Esau and father. Mm-hmm. Esau and father know where the garments are. Right? Because that's who Yah used. This doesn't happen without Yah's favor. So father knows and Esau knows. Time goes by. Here's Genesis and chapter 27, and starting at verse 5, it says, and Ribkah, or Rebecca, heard Isaac speaking to Esau. He's going to give him the blessing. And Esau went into the field to want to go kill the wild game. And this is where the story is. As he goes to do that, she picks out 2 choice goats. She cooks them the way her husband would like, so it tastes like game to him. Mm-hmm. But she says here in starting around verse 10, and you shall take it to your father. She's going to bring the stew. You're going to go in your brother's place, and that he might eat it, and that he might bless you before his death. Give you the firstborn blessing. And Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, Esau, my brother's a hairy man. I'm a smooth-skinned man. Obviously, he's got to do some stuff. He's got to costume himself a bit to look like his brother. I mean, it's pretty funny though. To wear goat hair, you kind of gives you, to fake out your dad. But more than that, man, what did Esau actually look like? Mm-hmm. It's kind of a crazy thought,
Obviously, he was wearing a sweater with his shirt off.
There was no male grooming back then, I guess.
Yeah, right.
No scissors or whatever. All right, so let's go on here. So here it is, and verse 14 and 15 are so important. So Rebekah's doing this because she knows, because Yah's already revealed to her that the older son is going to serve the younger son, right? So she knows that at birth. That's the whole birth story. Yep. We kind of skipped over all that. Mm-hmm. But verse 14 says, and he went and fetched them. So he goes to get the goats for his mom. His mother makes the tasty dish, such as the father loved. Esau is out hunting. And look at verse 15. Mm-hmm. And Rebekah took the best garments of her elder son Esau, which were where? In the house. Mm-hmm. Now, come on.
Yep.
Come on.
And then the NIV, New King James, it says the choice clothes.
Let's think about that for a second, everybody. Now I know it's not explicitly said in what we're reading, but a lot of stuff isn't explicitly said in what we're reading. We get more color, in the book of Yasher.
So this would line up in court once you start putting all those other.
There's a chain of evidence. Mm-hmm. It went from so-and-so's hand to so-and-so's hand. It was stolen. It was cataloged. Everybody knew it then when Nimrod was wearing it, what it was. It made him king. So there is definitely that chain of evidence here. And
he knew Ham back in the day, stole it. I'm taking it back.
And so here we are. What she goes into his room, she is obviously led of Yah's spirit, right? She knows the younger is going to serve. She's the one telling Jacob to do all of this. She is being led by Yah. When she goes into the house, and I'm obviously being a little facetious here, and she opens up his drawer or goes into his closet to get clothing. Now, if that thing had been sitting in there with all the rest of his clothing for years, it smells like him. Mm-hmm. What clothing do you think, under the inspiration of your father's spirit, do you think she grabbed? Yeah. I think, and I think we are on good ground to think this, I think she grabbed the clothing that Yah made for Adam. Mm-hmm. That the firstborn,
since he's getting the blessing of the right.
That the firstborn son, it was too much for him. He was too overwhelmed by this. So what does he do? The younger son is willing to step up. The younger son is willing to step up and say, I'll do it. Go ahead, sell it to me. I'll do it. And let's make this legal. Sell it to me. It's not just a verbal thing. Let's make this legal. Sell it to me. Mm-hmm. There's a contract. You get a little bit, I get a little bit. It's legal. And so she picks the best garments of her elder son Esau, which were in the house, and put them on Jacob, the younger son. And what winds up happening here is, I think what we're seeing here is the contrast. Well, let's think about the lineage here. As he puts on those clothes, what is the younger son doing? He is stepping into the place of the firstborn, first of all, but he is also carrying both the curse and the redemptive plan that was given to Adam and Eve in the garments.
In our modern vernacular, like, he's stepping into his shoes.
Yeah,
right?
Good term. He's wearing his shoes, and carrying a burden that the first son. So I think in a sense here, because I think Saul also uses the same analogy, and hopefully we'll have a minute to look at it. But I think, in fact, let's just do that. I think Saul carries this analogy in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Everybody should know that's the resurrection chapter. It's like one of those chapters you just memorize. There's so much great stuff in there. But 15 and starting at verse 45. Look, I mean, it's amazing. Look what Saul does in this story. And so it has been written. Thanks for the support.
Want me to read it, buddy?
Hey, yeah, go for it, man.
Okay.
I thought you were coughing to make me feel better.
No. We just did it at the same time. 45. And so it was written, the first man, Adam, became a living being. The last Adam became a life-giving spirit. And we want me to go through?
Yeah, you can go all the way through to verse 48.
Okay. However, the spiritual is not first, but the natural, and afterward the spiritual. The first man was of the earth, made of dust, and the second man is the Yah from heaven, or the Lord from heaven, right? And as was the man of dust, so also are those who are made of dust. And as is the heavenly man, so also are those who are heavenly.
Now again, remember what heavenly means.
Mm-hmm.
Of the stars, of the story, of the zodiac, right? But look at how this is described. Verse 47: the first man, which is Adam, is the older brother, and the second man, which is the younger brother. So this comparison of Adam, the first Adam, and Yeshua as the second Adam, a man, is being told to us in the story of Jacob and Esau, the one who was given the clothing, who received the covenant, who bears the curse, and then the younger brother who takes on that clothing and bears the curse and does what the first brother could not do. Isn't that something?
Yep.
How's that for some hidden manna?
There you go.
How's that for some hidden manna?
That's awesome.
And so this story takes on a whole new dimension.
Yeah. Well, it even sheds light when you read the account in Jasher and what we just read before, right? Because later on we know when Jacob goes and marries Rachel and Leah and he's leaving Laban, right? That's his father-in-law.
Right.
When he leaves,
Laban,
and then his servants go ahead. Who do they see coming? But his brother Esau. And what does he do? He knows what his brother did to Nimrod and his men. Yeah. He splits his camp in two.
Yeah.
He says he's going to kill me.
He's going to kill me.
He's coming after us. So he splits his family, his whole camp in two. So he figures, hey, if they get this part, maybe this part will still live, right? So he knew. So I think that's pretty cool.
Which if you think about it, because now they're taking on a different role. It's a different story, but because every one of the stories is obviously somehow related to the story of Messiah, or the story of what Yah has done with his people until Messiah comes. As he splits up his camp, what is he doing? Knowing that the enemy, his own brother, that the enemy is going to kill us, or at least there's the great potential he's going to kill us. So what does he do? He splits the two houses.
Yep.
He splits the two houses, splits them into two houses, separates them, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. How's that for some more hidden manna?
That is awesome. I know, right?
Right?
And it's crazy because Esau is still cunning because he's like, come on, come with me. And he's like, no, let the kids rest and let the animals, you know how they are. They're let them. He was smart, right? But yeah, that's a good insight, man.
Isn't that cool? Because he knew if he put it all together, man, he'd just ham it all up. And
that swine.
That swine. You swine. You swine, you. Man, you really got me with that ham one. I'm really upset I come up with a good pun. But isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Good discussion today, man.
Man, how's that for some hidden manna? The story in such incredible detail, given, and which also, how do you test these apocryphal books? This is how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you do it. You gotta understand the whole story and see if it fits in the story. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff that gets said, like I said in Enoch, and there's stuff that people don't understand. I know one of the big things, because I always kind of poo-pooed Enoch too, because I read it. I'm like, man, this is nuts. This is kind of crazy. But now the more I read it, the more I understand. I'm like, wait a minute. No, this is incredible. And I think one of the points I've heard some. Maybe what we'll do is one day we'll talk about the book of Enoch and try to give a review on it and give some direction. But that's going to take time. We got so much to talk about, so many big things. It's going to be weeks and weeks and weeks. But how do you test the book? You got to know the story,
Exactly.
and if it fits in the story. I mean, come on, what is the possibility that the Elohim who could have Rebecca to have twins, and they're fighting, and tell her the older is going to serve the younger, and she keeps that in her heart. She is moved by the Holy Spirit. If she's moved by the Holy Spirit, if she's willing to do this, if she sees the opportunity, Father has her in the right spot at the right time to overhear Isaac telling Esau, get me food so I can bless you. She's right there at the right moment,
The right
eavesdropping,
time,
right? That's Yah. That's Yah. And you got to imagine with all of that, these are not coincidences. These are Yah incidences, right? The stuff doesn't just happen. This is Father, moving the story along to tell us, to give us detail as to what's coming. And you're telling me with all of that, with the clothing of Adam sitting in the house, that she went out, she didn't go grab his Sunday best, put it that way. Right? She didn't go and grab a pair of shorts. She was under the inspiration of the Spirit. Of course, what clothing is she going to grab? The choicest. And there is no more choicest than the clothing that came from Adam.
Yeah.
Man, that's cool, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh man, the hour just flew right by.
I know. That's
Hope
what
you
I
guys,
was just looking at. I was like, it's that time already?
On the chat, man. Let's. What do you guys think about that? That's.
Let me see.
That's something. Somebody put there, chain of evidence. Yeah, chain of evidence. It sure is. And that's how you test the books. That's how you test these other books. Do they coincide? Do they continue to tell the same story? Or are they telling something totally different that has nothing to do, it's not related to, other things that have happened? But the trick is you got to know the story. You have to understand the story first and then be able to go back. So yeah, I think it's worth us, maybe doing a little thing on Enoch. It's a big book. It's not a small book. And there's it's like trying to, actually it really is the parallel to the book of Revelation. Actually, it's the introduction to the book of Revelation. It's actually, Enoch is the introduction to the Zodiac, the Mazzaroth. Revelation is the final explanation of the Zodiac, the Mazzaroth. They are quite literally bookends.
Yep. It's key.
And yet, you know what they are? They are the greatest story never told. Right? To quote Rude, the greatest story never told. Sounds like one of those commercials, right? You hear the background, the greatest story never told.
Sunday. Remember that?
Yeah. So anyway, that's that, man.
Yeah,
that's
good conversation, buddy.
Yeah, that's cool. That's some good stuff for Shabbat, for the day of rest. So think about that, guys. Think about that this morning as you go about your day. Remember who you are in the Master, everybody.
It's like hitting the button; it just comes out automatically.
Yeah, it just comes out automatically. So go ahead,
Grab
brother.
yourself a cup of coffee.
Yeah, which I could probably use right now. I'm hungry. I'm thirsty.
Yeah,
so.
I think we're gonna have coffee time on Tabernacles, and we're doing. I think everyone's gonna enjoy doing their morning coffee together.
It's gonna be fun. I'm telling you, we're gonna go over so much stuff. We're gonna throw out some, to use a colloquial term, we're gonna red pill some people.
That's
We're gonna start to look at some things and understand some things, and we're gonna ask tough questions. And we're not saying we've got all the answers, by no means.
Exactly.
But the questions are worth asking. And and we want to know.
At that point, we can search it together, right?
Yep.
There's
Yep. So it's gonna be fun.
I know you usually give me the last word. Just want to remind everyone, PD mentioned it. In the future, we'll come up with a Zoom that we can discuss just taking care of ourselves, nutritionally. And so we'll give you a heads up with that. But have a great day. Enjoy the Sabbath. And that's it, man. Have a peaceful day of rest.
Amen. I love you, brother.
Love you too, man. Good conversation, buddy.
Thanks, man. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, guys, I second that. We're definitely going to have that conversation about food and stuff. And I'm telling you, Brother Max is so incredibly knowledgeable about this stuff. It's amazing. Everybody that was on the Zoom last night, you know it, and hopefully we can share this with other people and help other people to get their bodies in the best health that they can right now. With food and other things. So we look forward to that. Right after the fall holidays, we'll put something together. But guys, don't forget to join us tomorrow morning for our weekend evangelism message, and of course, every day during the week for our morning manna, bright and early. If you're fed by this ministry, if you're encouraged by this ministry, we ask you to support this ministry. You can do that through the LMC app. You can do that by the QR code that's there with your phone. You can do it right online. We appreciate your support. It enables us to continue to do what we do to get this stuff out to help people to try to understand. So we thank you for your support. Take a second right now and just hit the like button. If you liked it, hit the like button. The more likes we get, even if you've been watching for weeks and weeks and weeks, you never hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit the bell so that you're notified every time we go live. Guys, have a great rest today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your family and whatever holy convocation you're going to be part of. Guys, have a wonderful day. Shabbat Shalom.